So we're going to do the solo RPG today. We've been kind of sort of tasked by Rimefire in a very perfunctory agreement, because Rimefire is pretty much just our friend now at this point, to check out this chaos miasma that's kind of floating in through the jungle just to the west there. We know that it's made a couple of people sick at Split Valley Oasis who have passed through the area, and we're afraid that it might impact Rimefire as well. So Rimefire just wouldn't ask us to do it with friends. He's a growing wormling. He's kind of entering that adolescence, teenager years, and he doesn't want any help from anybody. He wants to kind of do things his own thing as he's sort of burgeoning up with that draconic pride. So we had to do a very simple contract. We're doing this because we're worried about our friend. We're not doing it. And that includes, we talk a little bit about our crew that we have with us. It's not everybody who's sort of in the campaign as our sidekicks. Our primary character, however, is Leah Amakir. She is a academic researcher who's been blackballed, research discredited, and has turned into an adventurer and has grown into a wizard. And then we have a number of sort of sidekick roles that, if you're looking for them in the new D&D, that is in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, as the list of different ones we can make. Imbar being one of them. That is our human warrior. She's a tough cookie. She and Leah have a little bit of a history. They've had some beef from a previous adventuring party where a number of people died. And Leah kind of got the blame for that, at least from Imbar's point of view. But they have mended that relationship together, and now they're certainly not fast friends, but they get along. And they've definitely reached a level of trust with each other. We have Omer, who is probably the oldest companion of Leah's, another one of her academic researchers that got blackballed. He is just an expert. He knows a lot of things about dragons. He's the one with the closest ties to Rimefire, our dragon wormling. Ott is an adventurer, a guide. She is a 7-foot-tall gnoll murder machine that kind of speaks broken common. She is very good at being a guide and explorer. We call her rangery, is kind of her bag. And then the last person and the newest addition to our party is Jürgen Bronwode. She is a mountain dwarf. She is a healer, cleric-y kind of person. We found her tied up in the ruined Oasis city in the research facility down below the ruined city. We don't really know too much about Jürgen yet, other than we know that she's a religious person and she has access to magic. Specifically, druidic, healy, cleric-y magic style. But we don't know a ton about her. Other than she can be relied on, we know that. But that's about it. So let's hop into the recap. Usually I don't show you guys what the recap looks like, but this time I think we can. It's just right here from our last session. So, what happened last time? We set out from Rimefire's lair, which we're at again, and went back into the chaos miasma in the jungle that we're trying to figure out where the center is. We had Leah, with the help of Omer and Jürgen. They were able to follow the unnatural flora and fauna, checking on the density of the miasma itself that's in the jungle, and they were able to sort of triangulate that around to zero in on where they think the center of that miasma, that chaos miasma is. What is sort of the origin point, the epicenter of it. We blasted right past the effort DC with no problems. We rolled really well. We got it done, and it pretty much almost as few turns as we could have. I can't even remember what the lowest number we rolled. It was probably something like 15 was the lowest check that we did. So we did very, very good. We just zipped right in. Now, when we were doing that, while we were doing our investigation, we stumbled across a massive daub nest in the tree crowns, so kind of built around the bones and bodies of creatures that we discovered. And as we were kind of taking a look at that, we didn't realize that there were some awakened trees, pseudo-awakened trees, they're not full awakened trees. And they sort of circled vines around some of our characters' feet and pulled them up into the air. And as we were trying to get through that, and as we were trying to sort of get ourselves out of the trees, we were descended upon primarily by one ettercap leading a, what I've written down in my notes as a flotilla of giant wasps. I believe there were 13. I rolled the maximum of giant wasps. And they descended on the party. We were outgunned. We were almost 3-to-1 outgunned. It was a very difficult fight. We had many PCs almost fully die. So we were able to finally make it out of that combat. Deeply hurt, and the group marched out of the miasma and back to Rimefire's lair to report their progress and lick their wounds. So we've taken a short rest. And while we were doing that, Jurgen poked around the lair and found a tarnished brass set of scales and presented it to Rimefire. He found it in like an old hutch, buried somewhere deep in, because remember, this used to be an old water shrine. So found it in the back somewhere. And Veer, who is Rimefire's singular kobold servant, took the scales and is going to clean it up to be sort of further decor for the lair. And the party has finished their short rest and they're looking to get back to find what's at the center of the miasma. So now we're going to hop into this session. We can hop right in. So the easiest way to do that is, where are we going to go to? Let's go to... Now we only took a short rest, so we're still kind of in the middle of the day. We could go back. We certainly have. We rolled really well on our Constitution progression, so we're not very tired. It's still relatively early in the day. We could make it back to the center of the miasma, probably without any trouble. I'm not even really going to have us spend a lot of time faffing about, like trying to find the center, because we've already triangulated the center, so there's not going to be a lot of rolls to get there. I have a pretty good idea of where we're going. So maybe the best question is... actually, it's probably on the map. I think I changed it and it's on the map now. And we can... because we're going to reset the con save because we've repacked our face coverings to protect us against the breathing in the miasma. So... shouldn't be too much of an issue if we go straight the middle. We don't faff about. We can get right there. We should be able to do that without a lot of issues. So we're starting off in Rimefire's lair and we're going straight into the Chaos Miasma. Everybody grabs their face coverings and wraps them up and ties them back. And we're going to hop in and we're going to make that journey. So the first thing we've got to do to get in there is we're going to do our first roll of the game. Let's see. For our Constitution threshold... 2. Alright, so we're still doing really well. So we're only up to 8. That's going to get us into the hex. And we don't have to worry about the face covering until we get in there. Now, technically, we're in there, so we're going to spend our next movement finding the center. So we'll roll another d4 for our Constitution threshold. Oop, that takes us a little bit more. That's okay, though. We're just a little over half. This is going to get us to the center of the miasma. And we're going to go ahead and add our first 1d4. That, okay. So the DC for our poison save is 4, which I think everybody's going to pass. I mean, there's a possibility that we could roll really low, but the likelihood is that we should pass that, hopefully. It'd be really bad if we don't. Now, everybody's got advantage because they have the face coverings. So, easy pass. Yep. Yep. Yep, no problems from anybody. Pretty close. Consistently, Jurgen has been riding the edge very close to the affliction. So, still did that. Passing with, I think, a 6. I think she has a +1 in the con, right? Yeah. A 6 with a DC 4. So we moved into the jungle. We spent our time. Jurgen's coughing a little bit in the back, but seems to otherwise be okay when everybody checks on her. She's like, no, I'm fine. I'm okay. Let's keep going. And they move, and they move to the center of the miasma. Now the question is, what the heck's at the center of the miasma? I don't know. I guess we should probably figure that out. I think the easiest way to do that, let's jump over, yeah, let's just find a subject and an object. I'm just going to roll twice and see if I can push them together to see what's kind of at the center, see what sort of interesting thing we get. Alright, so 13 and 6. So our ordinary location. Alright, we're in the jungle. And some sort of new faction. Okay, interesting. So I guess the ordinary location, what would we consider an ordinary location in the jungle? I'm gonna roll a d6 based off of the thing. Let's do that. This is technically the... Hold on. I gotta check something. Hold on. Or what sort of hex are we in? So, yeah. I mean, we're in a frontier hex. And I rolled a 4? Correct? No, 2. I rolled a 2. We're in the frontier, where the march is. Okay, so it's some sort of artificial structure. So some sort of ordinary artificial structure that would be in the jungle. Is it a village? We're just gonna ask clarifying questions for our oracle. Is it a village? No. Okay, so it's not a village. Is it like a... Oh, you know what? It'd be easier. Let me just roll the d20. That'll be easier. Oh, okay. Well, I said it wasn't a village. No, it actually is a village. Okay, is it an abandoned village? I think that's actually quite likely, because as far as we know, we don't know that there's a village here. Nobody said that there was a village here. No, so it's not abandoned. So it is being populated by people. So I take it, are these people hill folk? I think that's almost... Because the location's ordinary. Yeah, so it shouldn't be... Well... Let's say, are they prime material playing creatures? Which I think is pretty likely. It's +3. No. Okay, so they're extra planar creatures, but still kind of mundane ones. That could be very interesting. Yeah, let me just roll. I'm looking at the different chart. Huh. Celestials. Okay, let's hop in here. So we need some celestials that are gonna make sense. Let's do it. Pegasus, Squaddles. Could be unicorns. Things are that there aren't a lot of low-level celestials, which makes things kind of difficult. Yeah, there just aren't. As you can tell, we have an entire category in D&D for celestials, and this is sort of what's in it. Well, we have an entire category of monster which encompasses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 creatures. Useful. That was a useful category to put out for 8 different creatures across 10 years of game. Well, enough belly aching. Maybe they're not Deva. Maybe they're more like Azamar. That probably makes more sense to me. So, yeah, let's say that. Are they Azamar? Almost guaranteed. No, apparently I can't roll any above a 10. So they're not Azamar. I mean, I guess they're Deva. They're just low-level Deva. I guess that's what they are. Alright, so it's some new faction. So it's a new faction of low-level Devas. Let me hop back over to our notes. Let's start making some notes before I start forgetting things. Current session notes. Alright, we did that. Ooh, this has already been updated. We've already found the center. We don't need to worry about that. Done this already. It's still day 3 of 6 for our contract. Yeah. At the center is I guess, technically a hamlet. of Deva. Oh, we'll put is a secret hamlet of Deva. Of a new faction. Oh, this is really stupid. Of course. Why did I not think about that? Alright, let's ignore... Let me ask one more clarifying question about it. For not being Deva. Is it Genasi? Okay, yeah. I didn't say it out loud, but yeah. There's a high likelihood that... Okay, it's Genasi. That makes the most sense for them being in the miasma. So we stumble across that. So the question is, I don't think we were particularly trying to be stealthy, so maybe like a passive stealth. We'll use what Leah's passive stealth would be as she was sort of moving around, which is not terrible, I don't think. I mean, it's 12. Let me do it this way. Let me make her a little bit larger. There we go. Anyway, so hers is a 12. So we'll just roll just kind of a... Did 12 pass a DC for anybody to notice them? Oh, nope, that's a DC 16, so surely not. So they're sort of moving through the jungle, cutting away brush, moving it in, and as they do, they get closer and closer to what appears to be that at the center of this miasma, there is, in fact, a small hamlet of people. And now we say small hamlet, how many people live in a small hamlet? We can find that out real quick. That is too low. Let's roll again. That's better. So 46, 45 people. Thereabouts, so that's what? Like 10 buildings, something like that. So relatively small town, small little village, cluster of buildings. About 45 people appear to... Well, we know that they're Genasi. I don't know if our player characters know they're Genasi yet. So we're wandering in. So we push through and we see that and we kind of come across it. But we are not without being seen. So somebody else is going to see us first. So let's just roll 2d6 and this will be kind of their reaction roll. 9. Okay. So as they're sort of moving through the jungle and cutting away undergrowth, trying to make their way to where they know the center is, and as they get closer and closer, of course, the miasma chokes and gets thicker and thicker, and before they know it, a couple of people, humanoid figures, appear from the jungle around them. I'm going to say carrying sort of spears. That seems probably the most likely to me. Spears, shields, probably some bows on their back, that sort of thing. And maybe blow guns, kind of depends. Could be slings. And it's just at a moment's glance, you can tell that they're Genasi. Genasi are pretty distinguishable by the color of their skin and their hair, really. Step out and halt. What are you doing here? And so they're stopping us, but we rolled well on the reaction roll, so they're not immediately hostile to us. They're not even aggressive towards us. They're just, hey, stop. What are you doing here? Like, you're not, people aren't generally around here. Who are you? What are you doing? Well, I assume that Leah's kind of our talkie-talkie person in general, so she will, and our main character, so she'll take the front, and she kind of steps up and is like, we're looking for the center of this miasma. It is making people sick. Can you help us with that? Well, it's a pretty bold question right out the gate. But you are asking about people who are walking around. These people do not have masks on. The Genasi don't have to worry about chaotic influence. They are infused with that energy already. And that's how it manifests in them, is their elemental powers. Is the manifestation of that chaos. And then look back and forth. Yeah, you know what? I'll just give her a basic charisma roll. Persuasion. She's not trained in it, but she's got a +2 to charisma. 19's pretty good. Let's see. Ooh, not good enough though. That's a 21. So that's a big old fail on the persuasion. So, fair. Like, can you help us with this? And they're like, this is none of your concern, Outlander. You need to turn around and leave this place. Question, can we see beyond them? Can we see into the, like, hamlet proper? No, not really. I assume that we can see, like, some peels of smoke. We can probably hear some light voices of people moving around and talking. But we can't really see any specifics of what's kind of going on in the hamlet. The foliage is a little bit too dense, and the guards are kind of, you know, standing in the way. Alright, so they basically turn around and tell Leah and the group, hey, not really your concern. You need to shove off. Ooh. How's Leah going to deal with that? Leah, not particularly one who really falls in line with authority figures very well, as we found out. She doesn't really deal with authority very well. And so being told, hey, buzz off, when you're like, yeah, well, I'm kind of on a mission, and this is also kind of making people sick, and also I don't care who you are. So how is she going to respond to that? Alright, so we've already kind of failed that first attempt. So, you know what? I'm going to turn it into an effort thing. So we know that the DC was 21. We're just going to make it quick and dirty down here, so we knew that it was 21. And let's do it by 3, so that's 63. And we got a 19, right? 63, we've got 1 failure. If we get 3 failures before we get to 63, well, actually, I guess what I'll say is that I'll give me, yeah, let's do 1d3 plus 1 attempts to get to that number. Oh, good, the max. Okay, so I get 4 more attempts to get there. All right, so this is something I might actually do. Might actually get there. As they kind of go into a very frank discussion and being like, hey, we've got this issue. This is hurting people. If you don't let us deal with this, you know, we're going to bring other people down. There's a dragon that's starting to get involved. This is not good for you if you don't let us pass. If you think things are bad now, we're just 5 jamokes. You don't want the hundreds of other people that will also come behind us if we don't deal with this. And they are not going to be as nice as we are about it. So let's do some rolls. That's sort of, I believe, how she's kind of setting it up. Alright, so we've got 4 rolls, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can add a total of 8 to these. Alright, so that's, we did not roll. We did not roll well. Alright, that's 29 plus 17, so that's 46, right? 46, 46 is not 63. So we're gonna put it down in here that we've got buying guards outside the village. Failed to persuade them to let us go on. And now I think that so the question is we definitely went from, they were kind of not necessarily friendly, but they were, you know, even keel. They were very neutral with us, tending towards being nice to us, just because, you know, random people showed up in our village, and they kind of probably assumed that they're just lost. But then they're like, no, actually, we're here on a mission, and if you don't help us, then it's going to be bad for you. And now I think that they are they're going to move further down on that reputation. So, from their sort of reaction, how they feel about the situation. So they were kind of neutral. Do they go immediately to hostile? And it's going to be an oracle question. I think that's extremely unlikely. So -5. But I do think that they are going to start being a little bit more physical with their presence. -5. Okay, so yeah. They're not. But now they're kind of a little pissed off. And, you know, they're a little bit more... Now they're kind of getting to the part where they're kind of like physically moving and kind of pushing them back. It's like, hey, that's enough. You come in here, you come to our home, start making threats, you need to get out of here before we have a real issue. And that's sort of the answer that they get. So they've kind of pushed off. Things do not go well. We fail more persuasion rolls. We're back on our heels. It's like, hey, if we press them again, things are gonna get physical. We're gonna have a fight if we do anything else. So we're put in a position. Do we just try to back off and go around them? Do we go back and report? Do we just knock out, drag out, have a fight with them here? Let me get a vibe check from everybody, because this is the first time that we've come across any genasi in the campaign. So let's get a vibe check from some of our characters. So Leah, we're going to leave her out of it because she's our main character and we get to kind of decide how she feels about it. How does Imbar feel about the genasi? Ooh, Imbar, not a fan. Imbar is probably gnashing her teeth right now. Like her hand just white knuckle gripping her weapon as these guards start to be a little bit more physical with them. Which makes sense. Imbar's a veteran adventurer in this world, and which means that she has probably come across chaos energy before. And usually there are not good things associated with that. Usually it really hurts people or kills them. So, she's not a fan. Omer. Pretty ambivalent. And I kind of feel like that's sort of where Leah is in general. They come from that very academic background. They're very ivory tower, so I think they've got a lot of... they've got head feelings about it. They don't have heart feelings about it. They don't have strong emotions about it. They have interest about it. If anything, they're somewhat curious about it, if anything else. Ott also does not like them. Ott is, again, is somebody who travels around and does the guides and goes into the dark corners of the world. Probably also pretty familiar with chaos energy and usually not good things. And Jurgen. Also not. Okay, so everybody's pretty much... Leah and Omer are the only ones with cool heads. Really. Everybody else is kind of gnashing for a fight here. Here's the thing, is that I think everybody... basically everybody who's on that downside, so everybody except Leah and Omer, I think I'm going to give them... I think it's a charisma save for them to keep their cool in the situation. So what's our DC? Oh, that DC is very high. Ooh. Okay. Well, that's 21. So Leah didn't start the fire. It was always burning. Just the world's been turning. Alright, well, hey, Imbar. Oh, no. Odd. Oh, you know, with a natural 20, regardless of what her bonus is, because I know she doesn't have a positive charisma bonus, I'm gonna say with the natural 20, she's gonna pass that. And Jurgen. Oh, no. So, Ott's in a weird juxtaposition. The person who usually goes into a blood frenzy when she fights is keeping it together. But Imbar and Jurgen are not. And as soon as these guards start to get physical, they get physical back. Alright, now we're going to have to figure out how many guards there are. Now, we do know that we are slightly over-leveled for this. This is kind of a side quest thing. We know that we are somewhat over-leveled for this. So we know that we are this is really only for potentially a level 4. And there are 5 of us. Oh, what? Let's take that off. Let's change the filter. Don't need that. We need humanoids. What would be a good one here? So we got a couple CR1s. Probably something better. But you know, this isn't necessarily. We said guards, so I guess we should use. Let's use tribal warriors though. That seems a little bit closer, I feel like, to who these people would be, rather than necessarily dyed-in-the-wool guards. So there could be a buttload of guards here. Because we're very high level. It could be up to 24. So they probably got some sort of captain. Let's even give them a captain kind of creature to go with them. Orc, scouts, thugs, hunters, bears. Goblin boss. We could use goblin boss. Let's use bandit captain. I like bandit captain. Even though the bandit captain hits pretty far above their weight. Alright, so 1 bandit captain and potentially up to 13 tribal warriors. Now, last time I rolled 2d6, I think, and ended up with 13. So I think this time I'm just going to roll the d12. Because I don't imagine that we got a full flotilla of guards out here. I think it's probably whoever was on patrol. So I'm going to hope that those numbers are somewhat lower. So I'm going to use a flat probability curve for it. Alright, so we got to roll a d12 plus 1. Let's roll low. Fingers crossed. That's pretty low. Alright, so we're going to fight 4 dudes. That's manageable. So this should be a relatively easy combat. Alright, let's jump into our combat tracker because somebody's going to throw a punch here, and I think it's probably going to be somebody on our side, unfortunately. I'll leave Igni in the initiative, probably not going to use him. And they'll all go off of Bandit Captain's initiative, which I believe, if I remember off the top of my head, is 12 for their passive initiative. I think they have a +2. Alright, let me look them up real quick. Over here. Alright, Bandit Captain. Oh no, the Bandit Captain technically has a 13. Close, but no cigar. And he has 65 hit points. Or they have 65 hit points, I don't know who they are. And we have some tribal warriors. Oh, they're any different, are they? No. Oh, interesting. Alright. There's a tribal warrior spore servant. I thought, oh, that would be something fun to use, but they're not particularly different as far as what they do in the stat block. And each of them has 11 hit points, and there are 3 of them. Alright, let's roll some initiative. Leah. Alright, going below. Imbar's going first. Probably tells us exactly who's going to throw that first punch. And it seems like it's probably going to be Imbar. That is not surprising, honestly. It's like the streets of Split Valley Oasis all over again, except instead of beating up cultists this time, we're beating up people. Alright, an 8 and a 16. So Jurgen's actually technically above her. Jurgen. And, where's up here? Alright, so it is, we're just gonna go with Imbar. Imbar's gonna start off the fight. These guys start pushing people around with their spears. I think they, except for maybe the captain, have spears. And, I think she probably just cold cocks him. Nobody's pulling out weapons at this point. I mean, they've got weapons out. But I don't think Embar's going to pull blade first. Because they're just kind of pushing them with the spears. They're not, like, poking them with them. So, she's just going to turn around and try to cold cock one of these guys. And I assume she's probably next to one of the warriors. I don't think she's next to the captain. Yeah, so she takes a swing. She's going to miss, but she takes a swing. Does Empire have anything else that she can kind of do? No, not really. I mean, she puts her shield on, if she didn't already have it on. But yeah, she takes a swing, just a haymaker at a guy, and he just ducks out of the way. And that's her turn. Fully into initiative. Next is Ott. Now the question is Ott going non-lethal? Now, Ott, historically, not really a non-lethal kind of person. Kind of like, if we're going to fight, we're going to kill something. So, yeah, does she go for the non-lethal approach? I'm just going to roll a d20. I think it's highly unlikely, so -5. Yeah, no. She pulls out a bow. And she does. So she pulls out a bow, and she's just going to put 2 into a guy. Question, does she aim for the main guy, the guy who's talking? No. Alright, so she just levels at one of the guys with her bow. She unlimbers her bow real quick. I mean, she's so fast at doing it. She's so dexterous. One definitely misses. This one is probably going to hit. Let me double check what their AC is. Oh yeah, definitely hit that guy. And just because I am forgetting off the top of my head, it's a little weird. I have to double check now because I'm playing in a campaign where we're using some third-party martial equipment, and sometimes the dice sizes aren't the same, and I have a character that has a longbow, and so I always forget what the actual die size for the longbow is, because his die for the longbow is a d10, not a d8. Alright, so she does a d8 plus 2. Alright, so she will do 4 damage to one of these guys. She plugs one of them with an arrow. Omer. Okay, so it's Omer's turn. So, as far as Omer's going, they're kind of pushing against us, trying to back us away. Leah's still in this person's face, like trying to argue with them. Be like, hey, we can't go away. This is gonna get really worse. You keep pushing us away. As we do, and then this person pushes Inbar, and Inbar's like, hey, gives him the finger, and then tries to throw a haymaker at him, and misses. And then Ott's like, oh, we're doing the thing. Because she was barely suppressing her own sort of action, and she immediately whips out her bow and probably shoots that same guy with an arrow. And Omer's like, oh god, Omer, not much of a fighter, more of a thinker. He's in fact going to use his bonus action to disengage and move the heck back away from these guys. You know what? He's going to take the dodge action. That's what he's going to do. He's not much of a fighter. He doesn't really know exactly what's going on. He's a little shell-shocked at the moment. He's not really sure what's going on. So he's going to take the dodge action. And then we're going to get down to the Genasi. So Omer takes his action. He dodges. Let's do the bandit captain. Alright, so the bandit captain was talking with Leah. Does the bandit captain pull a weapon? I was gonna say it's unlikely, but we've already shot one dude. Even though the person in front of him is not brandishing a weapon, nobody other than Ott is at this point. So maybe 50-50. Are they gonna use their weapon? Of course, that's when I roll high. Yeah. So the bandit captain immediately pulls her sword. And dagger, I guess. Leah's right in front of them, so they're going to attack Leah, unfortunately. And they get 3 attacks, 2 scimitars and a dagger. Yeesh. Alright, she doesn't have a great AC. Oh good, a natural 20. Natural 20, but 2 misses. How's Leah's spells? Okay, she could try to silvery barbs that. We do not have... We got really roughed up in the last fight. So yeah, she's going to blow a silvery barbs. And have him re-roll that. And she's going to keep the bonus for herself. So she's going to keep the inspiration bonus for herself. And that Genasi is going to have to re-roll that crit. And miss. Alright. So, this guy brandishes his sword. He's right up on top of Leah. And his dagger just pulls him out both. Slash looks like it's going to hit her. And she, like, uses a big flash of white light and magic at the last second. It just barely bends luck to her will. And just barely moves out of it. You know, very much the blade just, like, cleaves right past her. And then in a flurry, another flurry of being blinded, he swipes around and the captain cannot hit her. That is the captain's turn. They don't have any bonus actions, I don't think. But they have a reaction. Not a bonus action, they have a parry. We'll try to remember that. In fact, I'll write it down. Okay, here's a parry. Alright, the Genasi warrior. So we know that one of them's on Imbar. So I'm gonna put down... No, one of them's on Imbar. Who are the other ones on? I guess I can kind of just roll down. We got 5 people. Alright, number 3 and number 2. So who's number 2 and number 3? Okay, so one's on Ott. And one was on Omer, but Omer's moved away. That one's going to have to move over to somebody who's left over here. Is going to move over to Jurgen on their turn. So I'll just go ahead and write down Jurgen. Alright, so they move in. And let's go to warrior. They have pack tactics. We don't know how bunched up everybody is, but probably pretty well bunched up. Alright, so... Yeah, I think, especially for this initial one, I think everybody was pretty clumped pretty well together, so I think they're all, except for maybe the one that's on Jurgen, because that one has to move. But the one on Imbar and the one on Odd are both going to have advantage with their spear attacks. On Imbar, yeah, that's going to hit. Well... Okay, so it's going to be a 19 and a 15. 19 doesn't hit her, I forgot that she's got plate now. And 15 against, what is it, Ott? And that is Ott's AC. Alright, so they do a D8 plus some change, plus 1. Alright, so Ott will take 4 points of stabbing damage as she gets stabbed. So she shoots off this arrow, and another one that Imbar's working on, and then the ones next to him was kind of pushing him, and then turns around and actually gives him a stab with the spear. And now they have poked the gnoll, and the gnoll will get angry at them. And one's going to move to attack Jurgen, but that one's not going to get advantage because they had to move away from their friends. Well, definitely going to do that. Definitely going to hit Jurgen. For absolute minimum damage. Yay! Alright, so down 35. That's not too bad. Alright, that's the tribal warriors. They get their stabs in. And I haven't decided what kind of elemental people these are. And I can't remember off the top of my head. So there's 4. I'll just go down the list. So one's got air. They can do feather fall, they can do shock and grasp, dark vision. So nothing specific with air. Yeah, Earth's got merged with stone. And they've got Earthwalk. And the fire has fire resistance, of course. And they know produce flame. Alright, so yeah, nothing is fun. I forget that they're not like some of the older editions of Genasi. They have really cool specific abilities. Not so much in 5e 2024. They basically just get magic spells, which is okay, but alright. It'd be cool if they had like a very specific effect that was only for them, rather than just get access to cantrips. But that is specifically in 2024's answer to anything is more cantrips, it feels like. Jurgen. It is Jurgen's turn. Jurgen got poked out and prodded. She's gonna do blast. Probably not worth the. Well, I can't do spiritual weapon anyways. I'm out of second level spells. Yeah, I think she's just gonna take a poke back with the spear. So she's gonna try to poke back at the same person. She'll hit, and she'll do. She's using this in both hands. So 5 plus. Right, I don't think Jurgen has a shield. No, she does have a shield. Sorry. So that should be a d6. Okay. Doesn't matter. So she deals 5 points of damage back to the one that's on her. She deals... Yeah. Alright, sorry. 5. So that one's past 50%. It's going to have to start making morale checks as it gets back around. So this one kind of stabs Jurgen. Jurgen kind of dodges out of the way and grabs him and like, boom! Hits him back with the spear. And punches much harder than they got punched. And that is Jurgen. Jurgen doesn't really have any specific... We don't have any great bonus action spells. It is Leah. Leah's up front. Leah, not in a great situation. What could she do? What could she do? She's got some second level spells and third level spells. Maybe she can get off a vampiric touch. She's kind of hurt, right? And not really. Not that badly. So no, instead she's going to cast a second level magic missile right in... I think Bandit Captain's face. I think that's what makes the most sense. So we upcast it to second level, which means we get 4 of these bad boys. Oop, that's 5. So 15 points of force damage, just boom, 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 right in the person's face. She just flings up her ash staff and just bop, 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 bop. No, it doesn't matter. She's not using fire damage. Right. I said 15. This guy's down to 40. I'm gonna say 40 or 65. She hits him with that, and yeah, I think she's gonna move away from this guy. She can't keep taking attacks from this guy. She's a wizard. She does not have the AC or the hit points for doing that. So she will, in fact, provoke an attack of opportunity as she tries to move away. So that guy will take a swing at her, and he's gonna hit her with his scimitar. And she'll take 6 points of damage. But she's going to get out of there. That's not a terrible price to pay for getting out of there. Especially when you only got 26 hit points left and this guy's got 3 attacks per round. So, not a bad choice. Alright, so she steps back out of the fray. She's, where's she at? And so it. Obviously, Igni's not going to do anything for the moment, so we're going to be back up at the top. It is Imbar's turn. Imbar's pulling the blade now. And is going to immediately attack the one that's in front of her. Now, they're next to friends, so I assume that we're next to friends too. So she's going to make an attack. And, okay. So, Imbar crits on 19s. So she pulls out her moon longsword, so shing, and that sort of brilliant pale light energy shines everywhere. And she just pretty much just runs this guy through. Because she's about to do 2d8 plus 4d6 damage on this guy. And he's got 7 hit points. He literally, I mean, I guess if I rolled nothing but ones on all the dice. No, even then he would still die. Yeah, let's see how badly she eviscerates this guy. If she does like really kills the crap out of this guy, I might give him disadvantage on their morale check kind of thing. Alright, so 2d8, 46. 25. So she does 25 points of damage. That's enough to kill one of these guys twice over. So there's an explosion of violence that starts happening. She takes a swing at a guy. The guy turns around, takes a stab at her with a spear, misses, and then there's a flash of this pale light, and this dude's head just falls on the ground, and she immediately, just in one slash, decapitates this guy. And his body just thumps down into the jungle floor. Like a hot knife through butter. Just immediately just was alive, standing up, dead on the ground. In pieces. So, this warrior is no more. And Imbar does Big Britches fighter stuff, which is steps up to the Genasi captain with her sword. Shing! Steps up there. And steps into the breach and be like, I'll be your opponent now. I'll be your Huckleberry. So she's going to step up and do that. They're immediately freaked out. Ott still has one on her, which is the one that has not been hurt. Normally this person wouldn't have to do morale save, but as they just watch the person next to them just immediately get decapitated and within just a few seconds of the fight breaking out. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give them a morale roll for that. What do you know? They fail. So they are going to turn and run, but they're going to disengage. So they're going to disengage and move back. So this one's dead. So that person's disengaged and they're turning tail and running. The second one also, the one that's on Jurgen also was going to be making one anyway, so they're going to make theirs with disadvantage, which is technically advantage. Because we're trying to roll under our charisma, which is an 8 for the tribal warriors. Either one of those was going to fail. So they are going to disengage and boogie off as well. Question, are they going directly back or are they just flushing into the wilderness? Okay, so they're going directly back. Alright, disengaged and fleeing. Alright, so those two Genasi warriors are... Nope. Alright, don't get paid enough for this. I just watched my friend go get unlived real quick. And very easily. So I'm not gonna hang out here. Oh, it's not even their turn. I don't know why I'm jumping up to their turn. It's Ott's turn. That's who I was trying to figure out. Well, Ott had the one next to her. Ott can Ott disengage? I believe Ott can disengage, right? Yeah, Ott would disengage and then turn back around and shoot at the one that was on her twice. Crit! Okay. Gonna hit with both of those, so 3d8 plus 4. Alright. Well, that person never got the opportunity to actually disengage, because She took a step back. She took a pivot, like basketball pivot step back, and just full drawed and put 2 right into this person's face, and they just fell down on the ground. Dead. From full hit points to dead. Omers, who's in the back, who was taking dodge action, is no longer taking dodge action. Will pull out his sling and sling at the remaining Genasi warrior. He will probably not hit. He doesn't. That's fine. Here you go. And then we'll move on to the Genasi captain. Guy on his right, immediately dead. Guy on his left, immediately dead. And having some... Thinking about... I don't know, that wizard hit me pretty bad too. Maybe we don't fight for this one. Yeah. It is Bandit Captain's turn. Bandit Captain, what are you doing? Bandit Captain's gonna make a morale save. What is their charisma? Their charisma's 14, so they got a pretty good choice at this. They're also higher level, so... But we did just immediately wipe out 2 of their people. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and give them disadvantage, which is technically advantage on the roll under. Doesn't matter, they rolled great. They're in the fight still. Their will is iron. They have Imbar in front of them. They're going to take 3 swipes at Imbar. Hit, miss, miss. 1d8 plus... Not 1d8. 1d6 plus 3. So there's 5 points of damage to Imbar. That ain't nothing for her. She feels fine. Still. She gives him a little... Bandit Captain gives her a little bit of a cut. Roughs her up just a little bit, but otherwise she is fine and good to go. And probably being like, I probably should not have done that. I probably should have run. That was not a good idea. Alright, that one disengaged and is fleeing. Genasi warrior. They're still running. Jurgen's in the back. They see that person fleeing. Jurgen, I don't think... But let me roll. I'd make this a... I feel like a wisdom save, and she's going to have advantage on it. To gun down the person who's running away. Okay, natural 20. Yeah, she's like, nope, you let the people who are running run. So she's instead going to turn her attentions on the Bandit Captain. And things are going pretty well right now in the fight, so she is instead going to use, I believe, Starry Wisp. So she's going to use a little Starry Wisp. Oh, right. I forgot, I gotta look this up somewhere else. The things I'm looking at only has 2024 stuff. There we go. You launch a mode of flight. One creature or object within range. 60 feet, definitely still in range. Spell attack against the target on a hit that takes 1d8 radiant. And provides dim light, which is whatever. Alright, so she has a +6 to hit. Let's make a spell attack. That will certainly hit. And Jurgen is a 5th level character. Which means that her cantrips now do 2d8 damage. And it's just 2d8, right? She isn't it? Yeah. So 2d8 radiant damage. Absolute minimum damage. Love to see it. Alright, well, this Bandit Captain takes 2 points of damage. Ooh. Great job, Jurgen. And she doesn't have anybody on her, so she's also going to move back. She's not a big fighty kind of person. It is Leah's turn. Leah's going to probably just firebolt them. And she'll use the inspiration if she needs it to hit. She will not. Now the question, is this a fire Genasi? If I roll a 4, it's fire Genasi. It's fire Genasi, so it's only going to take half damage. So 6, 7 divided in half, so they take 3 points of fire damage. So they see the fire sort of ripples off their orange and red skin. It doesn't seem to singe them very much. Well, almost minimum damage on 2 attacks. Great! Love it! Let's back here. Chipping away at this guy. Even the parry. Da-da-da. Alright, it's back up at the top for Imbar to move up. Or, she's already up there. And nobody else has moved up, so it's just her up there, so she's not going to get her special advantage thing yet. She is going to hit, though. So she will do a D8 plus 2 points of damage, 4 points of damage. Not hitting particularly hard. Ott's turn. Ott's gonna sit in the back and do their ranger thing, because that's what they're really good at. Ooh, I don't think either one of those hits, actually. 12, yeah, I don't think that they... Yeah, no, they have a 15 AC. Unfortunately, in what is quite rare, Ott has 2 misses on her turn. That's unfortunate. Oh well. It happens every once in a while. Even with the characters who are really good at shooting. Alright, and Omer's in the back. Omer's gonna use his sling, I guess. Omer will get... We're gonna have a lot of crits this combat, I guess. With his sling. And we'll do 6 points of damage. You think he did the most damage out of everybody this round so far. And he is not the fighter of the group, which is very funny. But does the clutch job of bringing them below half HP, so now that they're at 25 of their 65, and there is a chance that they will actively run away now. Speaking of, it is the bandit captain's turn. They roll... I believe they have a 14. They do indeed, 14 charisma. They did in fact roll under. They did in fact save. They are still in the fight. Even though the fight's not going well for them. They still have the one character in front of them. And I don't think... The guard captain could try to get around Imbar to get to a squishier target. But I think that's just going to put him in a position where he's just going to get surrounded. So I don't think he would do that. So he's just going to make 3 attacks against Imbar. 2 misses, but I think one of those is going to hit. What's our bonus to hit? Yeah, one of them will hit. So one of the scimitars hits for 9 points of damage against Imbar. Ouch. So that's 34. Wait, is that right? Did I do that incorrectly? Yeah, that's right. So doing all right. She's doing fine. She's doing her fighter thing. She's good at what she does. Imbar is. That's Captain. That's all they got. They don't have any cool bonus sections or anything that they can do. They could shoot a firebolt or something like that, but I don't think that's going to matter. And we haven't gotten anything close to be able to parry yet. Well, nobody's attacked these warriors, so they have fully left the plane of battle. Nobody's chasing them down. So it's back to Jurgen in the back, who's going to do another Starry Wisp again, and miss, and then Leah, who is probably not going to firebolt again. Because she was like, oh, firebolt didn't really work. That probably makes sense. So she's got some other cantrips she can cast, right? She does have True Strike. 2024 True Strike. She didn't really want to use a leveled spell. Really, all she's got is Firebolt. She could use True Strike, but she's got to get up there and touch them. Oh, I did say she was going to try to probably do Vampiric Touch if she had the opportunity to. She's got the opportunity now, so I guess she'll do Vampiric Touch. The touch of your shadow-wreathed hand can siphon life force from others to heal your wounds. Make a melee spell attack against the creature within your reach. On hit, the target takes 3d6 necrotic damage, and you regain hit points equal to half the amount of necrotic damage dealt. Till the spell ends, you can make the attack again on each of your turns as an action. So, she is going to action roll into position so she can flank with Inbar, and she will make a melee spell attack with advantage for flanking. Oh, didn't need it anyways. Double 18s. Both of those are going to hit. So 3d6 damage. Alright, so he's going to take 9 points. 16. And she is going to get half of that back, so she'll get 4 hit points back. Every little bit hurts. Every little bit helps, not hurts. The exact opposite of what we're doing here. Right, I forget that I can sub the damage type with equivalent spells. I can Firebolt and do a different type. I can swap out the Firebolt damage for fire to use the force damage of True Strike. I need to remember that. So I can, in fact, use my cantrips and have them be effective. And that's one of the fun scribe things I forgot about. Okie dokes. That was Leah in the back. She has not needed to use her inspiration yet, so she still has it. Back up at the top with Imbar. And Imbar is, in fact, now flanking. They're 50. Yeah, she definitely hits a 15 AC. And she gets to do her extra 2d6, so she gets that. So she has 15 points of damage to this guy. And he is on death's door with a single hit point left. So, here's the scene. They're having this fight. Imbar and the bandit captain are clashing swords against each other. Leah sort of runs up and like sifts through the undergrowth, get behind him, puts a hand on the bandit captain's back and just siphons life out of him. He's like, ah! And he turns around and is taking turns around and takes a swipe at her. And as he does, Imbar sees an opening and stabs her sword into him very nicely and pretty much through the torso. And it's going to be the end of the bandit captain, pretty much. Ott's there. Ott'll take a couple shots, just has to hit. And that 11 will hit on the die. And she shoots this guy in probably, I don't know, middle of the back, base of the neck, somewhere in that region. And it just kind of falls forward flat and is dead. And the Genasi captain is dead. However, one of them did for sure run away. And is probably running back to the hamlet, so everybody's going to know that we're around and going to know who we are. But that is the end of combat. Just back into the ruins. Here we go. As the adrenaline starts to get processed back out of our system, standing around, everybody's kind of catching their breath. I think Leah's probably still more peeved than anything, kind of getting in, specifically Imbar and Imbar and Ott's face, and be like, "What the hell are you guys doing?" We were just having a talk. We were having an argument, and you start swinging your fist and shot a guy. Like, what are you two doing? So she's out there just chastising them. Like, what the heck are you doing? You're making things way worse than they have to be. And we'll see how they deal with that. So Leah kind of gets in their face and yelling about it. And what is their response? I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna give them their own persuasion check. So for Imbar rolled pretty well. I guess I should roll for Leah first. All right, so Leah's got a 14. We'll consider that kind of the DC. Imbar passes the DC. Does Ott pass that DC? Probably not. No. No, Ott has a -1 to charisma. So I think Imbar was like, look, like you really want to try to talk to these people? They started pushing us around. They were just a second away from stabbing us first. I just jumped the gun. I just want to be the person who gets the first lick in if the fight's going down, not the person who gets licked first. And I think they kind of like rolled around and was like, all right, okay, okay, no, I understand you. I don't think we were there yet. I think we could have still talked our way out of that. I don't think they were going to kill us. And Bart's like, I guess we'll never know. Yeah, I guess not. And what about you? You're the one who pulled a bow and started shooting people, and I'm just kind of like, something that's kind of along the lines of through her broken comment, like, why waste time throwing hands when I could be throwing arrows? Right? Why would I beat the enemy when I could kill them? Technically, it just kind of like rubs her eyes. It's like, oh. Like, Ott's a very useful person to have around, but Ott's also sometimes a big liability when any sort of diplomacy situation. She goes hot real fast, as we've seen previously. But we are through the encounter. I do need to roll for her arrows. She's doing fine on the arrows. She's the only person who shot an arrow. Alright, so they're standing there and like, alright, what the hell do we do now? I mean, we can go to the hamlet. It's like if we go to the hamlet, that person's gonna beat us there. We're gonna have to fight that whole freaking town. Is that what we want to do? Homer's like, well, it's the center of the miasma, so that's where we're going, right? Regardless. Lee's like, oh. I guess so. I guess so. I think she kind of looks at people and is like, maybe it would be easier if you guys cover us from the tree line. And I can go in, and she kind of looks at her companions, kind of eeny, meeny, miny, mo, like, which one of these people do I think won't pull a blade and stab the first person who disagrees with them once I get in there. It's like, I think Omer and I could go in, talk to him, maybe we can find out what the chaos element is, we can research it a little bit together, might be able to figure out what's going on here, see if there's some way to stop it. Identify what it is, stop whatever it is. And you guys can stay in the trees, keep us covered. If things go bad, come get us. Does that sound amenable to everybody? Yeah, let's give her a persuasion check. Why not? It's a very good. I was toying with it. Do I want to give her advantage? Yeah, I think so. Leah's had plans. They followed the plans before. They generally seem to work out. Still not any good. Sure. Let's just. I don't even need to set a DC. That's an 8. That's pretty much passes very few DCs in the world. Even what might be their sort of like passive insight or whatever you want to call it. They're probably not passing that. So, yeah. She says that and they're like, no, they're going to kill you before we even have a chance to get to you. We can't cover you from that far away. What if they take you in a building? You can't see what's going on in there. And I think there's probably a combination of Imbar and Jurgen who are kind of talking. Probably Jurgen's like, that's just it's not safe. Especially at this point. We can't let you do that. I understand your concerns. I don't think it's a bad plan. I do think it's too risky. We're already hurt from earlier in the day. We don't have the resources to be taking risks like this. And this is not the place to do it. I think Leah's just kind of like pinching her bridge of her nose. Okay, alright, fine. We'll all go in together. And maybe we'll murder an entire village of people. Who knows? Let's try not to. Can everybody at least agree to that? Can we maybe not murder this entire village? Can we do our best, be on our best behaviors? Maybe not pull weapons out or take swings at people at every opportunity. Yeah. You got it, boss. Yeah. You do whatever. I was just like, everything is fine until it's not fine. Okay. Alright. Omer, Jurgen, why don't you stay next to me? The two of you and you, stay in the back. Alright? Away from where you might get stabby. And don't shoot somebody. Alright. Straightens up her clothes. Well, I guess we should see if they have anything on them before we move on. Though it feels kind of bad to say that after all the other stuff I just said. And then we'll move on. Move into the handler. So they take some time and they're going to roll the bodies real quick. We've got 3 bodies. I'll give us advantage on the bandit captain because it's a tougher enemy. But this is primarily going to be just minor pocket contents, I feel like. I'll just roll for the bandit captain. Does the bandit captain happen to have any super nice item on him? No? Alright. So it's just going to be pocket contents. And do I have the pocket contents in here? I think I moved it in here, didn't I? No, I keep forgetting. It's in my other one for a different game that I play with some friends, where we play kind of a dungeon masterless game, where we kind of do the same thing, but with multiple people. So, it is not in here, but that we met by the guards outside. Failed to persuade us, so let us go on. Imbar took a swing on Ine. Took on one. Shot one. Evolved into a combat. One survivor. Back to the village. And loot. So let me grab my thing. There we go, so I can roll pocket contest to see what these guys have on them. Pocket contents. 2d6 roll. 5. The first one's got some gold on them. I got 6 GP. What about the next guy? Oh, that's 10s, not 6s. Gotta roll the right thing. It helps. 6 and 3. Ooh, some directions. We'll deal with that in a second, but let's go ahead and get the last thing out of here. That would also be directions. This is for the bandit captain though, so let's see if we get something else as well. Nothing of note. A pocket lamp. Let me do this. Is it a nice pocket lamp or a cheap one? Oh, it's a cheap one. Right. And a cheap pocket lamp. It's just like a little oil lamp that you can put in your pocket and use. Kind of like the flashlight version of an oil lamp is essentially what it is. Alright, so let's find out more about the directions. So, question. Let's ask. Are the directions... Normally the directions are like, how to get to a place. But the directions also could be like directions on how to do something. Are they directions on how to do something? Yes. Is this related to the source of the miasma? Yes. Does it say what the source of the miasma is? No. Okay, so there are orders for something and telling us to do something. I want to use... I think I'm going to use my D100. I might... It's down here. I might have to go grab it. I'll grab the sheet that I was looking for. These are prompts. They're from the Solo Dark portion of Shadow Dark. If you're interested in what they are and you want to look at them yourselves. I've been trying them out. I've liked the prompts so far. And I figured this will be a great way to jump back in and find out what the directions, because we know the directions on how to do something rather than a place to go to. So let's find out what that is. So we roll 2 D100s. Get that idea. So we have 34. Which is forbid. Interesting. And 44. Huh. So we actually rolled something very, very interesting. Because the prompt that we got was forbid chaos. So these are people who are maybe... Turns out that these are actually actual things on how to perhaps stop that flow of chaos. Rather than... being the people who are creating it. Maybe that's our interpretation of it. Is that something we can intuit? Is it forbidding chaos? Well, I guess it's not stopping chaos, because there is something on here that's just stop. So it would have been stop chaos. Or block chaos. And there's stuff like start, unleash. So it's something that's forbid chaos. So that makes me think that it's forbidding the spread of chaos. So these are some sort of directions to forbid on how to forbid chaos. I'm gonna go with spread. Not forbid. Forbid. Directions on how to forbid the spread of chaos. Maybe they're forbidding chaos from... Maybe it's not necessarily the spread. Maybe it's just into the world. Yeah, we'll just go spread of chaos. We don't really know the specifics of it. But they are directions on how to forbid that. So maybe they're directions on how to... Alright, but that's what we get. Alright, so we're like, okay, so maybe these people... Like, you kind of turn around and look at their friends. So maybe these people aren't necessarily our enemies, huh? So maybe we just don't start killing people. Right? Now everybody's on the same page. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Grumble, grumble, grumble. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy. Harumph. So we're going to jump back in, and we're going to, I guess, keep moving on. So here's the thing. Do we just march proudly into the hamlet? I think we have to at this point. They didn't do a very good job of sneaking around. They know we're coming, or assume we're coming. They know we're around. They kind of make a plan. They sit down and make a plan as they're kind of going through the thing. They're like, I guess we'll just walk straight in. We should probably bring the bodies with us to show there's no, ill intent. So I mean, we're probably gonna need to give them the gold back. And Bart's like, oh, all right. It's not like we're making any money on this thing anyways. Got basically doing this pro bono for Rimefire. Yeah, I know we are. I understand that. Look, Rimefire's our friend. We're helping Rimefire. We just had to do the deal because of the whole dragon thing. Yeah, I get it. I understand. It doesn't mean I have to be happy with it. I know it doesn't mean you have to be happy with it. Thank you. We'll bring the bodies with us, alright? Including that decapitated one. Yeah, I'll carry the decapitated body. Fine. Alright, so they grab they grab the bodies. and march into the hamlet with them to see who's gonna greet them. I feel like enough time has passed. I'm gonna go ahead and do another roll. So first for our Constitution progression, 3. Okay, and for our save, another 3. All right, not great, considering how we've been rolling. So let's go down to our exploration tracker. So we've got 3 there, so we're at 15 and 20. We really don't want to rest in the miasma if we can help it. All right, so we got to roll for our face coverings. Remember that we have this Constitution saving throw. We do have advantage of the face coverings. Leah, fine. Imbar. Okay. Omer's alright. Lott's alright. And Jurgen's doing great. Had some trouble earlier. Got it taken care of. Now she's back. But that natural 20, she's doing flying high. So everybody's fine. Nobody's affected. Not going to roll from a random encounter because we literally just kind of had a random encounter while we were getting here. So we walk in. Question. Are there people waiting for us? Sure are. Let's get a vibe check. Actually, let's do an insight check. Advantage because we have a bunch of people here, but it is going to be Leah's. 13 plus, I think, 1? No, minus 1. So a 12. 12 beat the DC? Probably not. Nope, sure doesn't. That's a 16 DC. Alright, so they kind of get in there, and things are tense. She's trying to pick up on a vibe, and she's not really getting it. The people she's walking up to seem pretty stone-faced. I assume that they have probably some weapons with them. Or at least people around that have some weapons with them. How many people turned out? Is it the... I'll just do a percentage. You got about... not quite half the village there. So 20-something people. Not quite 2 dozen. Are out there to meet them. Probably a handful of them, maybe half dozen, maybe up to a dozen of them seem like they have weapons on them. Shields, armor of some type. Like in the few minutes they had, they geared up and were out here to meet them. And Leah's gonna come in hot, and Leah's gonna come in here and be like, hi. So, there was a bit of a misunderstanding. We apologize for that. We have brought your people back, and we hope that we can put this behind us. It was a misunderstanding. We didn't understand. This was not. We're not here to hurt you. We're here to figure out what's going on with the miasma. Please, we come in peace. So that's what she's gonna do. I'm actually gonna give her disadvantage on this charisma check or this persuasion check, because she is literally showing up with the bodies of the people they just killed. And these people have been informed by a person who fled that fight, having watched those people die. Well, 2 of those 3 people die. Still a 14. It's not terrible. What's the DC? Wow. I rolled the minimum DC. That's a DC 2. So I think she comes in, she says her piece, there's like a moment of silence, and I think we see some of the like tension in the people, the 20 odd people who are out there. The tension in their shoulders just kind of relax, and there's just kind of a morose, a sort of a sadness that just kind of washes over the scene. And I think there's a couple of people who run forward, probably heavily crying at this point, to address the bodies of the dead people, family members, kin, spouses, etc., children. And I think Leah kind of steps forward to... And can she determine somebody who's in charge? I think that's extremely likely. No, she can't really depend. She's kind of trying to pick somebody out, but there are a few people standing around who might be in charge, so she can't really figure out who she's supposed to kind of talk to. And then I think so. Instead of one person approaching her, I think there's like a handful, probably like 3 or 4 people that approach her. And so rather than having like a mayor of the town, there's like a village elders situation, or like an elderman situation, where there's actually just a few of the older people, or just kind of the people that people look forward to being in charge because they have the most life experience to make decisions. They kind of step forward, and I think she passed, right? She did pass. So let's find the vibe check this time. Okay, that's bad. That's okay. That's a little bit more what I was looking for. So they kind of stand up and they kind of like gently like incline their heads on a little bow. They reach out and sort of touch her hand. Like, thank you for bringing the bodies back. There is we understand there's a lot of bad blood. This is a generational issue between people. The fact that you came here without weapons drawn, or ran back to round up a mob to come attack us, lets us know right off the bat that we think you're a better person than most of the people we run across. Leah kind of like awkwardly just kind of like nods, like just kind of like a little embarrassed, a little ashamed, and a little... It feels pity towards them this moment. And I'm sorry, like I said, it was a misunderstanding. It got out of hand. That's not what we were trying to do here. This is a mistake that happened, and not one that we want to rehash, or one that we want to learn from this mistake and not do it again. We want to stop other things from happening. The entire reason we're here, and I think she pulls out those directions and hands it to whichever elder is kind of talking to her the most, and hands it back to him. It's like, we know that there is chaos influence here, and it's begun to afflict people in the area and other creatures in the area. And we were trying to investigate it and trying to stop it. And it seems like maybe our kind of gesturing to the directions, it's like our plans may be aligned, our goals. They kind of take it and they unfold the like little piece of paper and look at the direction. Yeah, no, we'll be happy for your help. We're not afflicted by this energy in the same way that your people are. We are more accustomed to it, but he kind of like looks past her shoulder, like over at the, particularly the decapitated body. And it's like, you are stronger fighters than we are, and we could make use of your muscle and perhaps you can make use of our ability to move throughout this place without danger. I think there's a way we can maybe work together. He's like, I think that sounds great. I'll be honest, we are very tired. It has been a long journey, and this has not been the only fight we've been in today. We don't know. I think it's getting dangerous for us to stay in the miasma any longer today. This probably seems silly to ask, or it feels silly to ask. Is there any place that you could put us up that protects us from the miasma, or do we need to leave and perhaps recoup and come back tomorrow? That's a good question. I don't know. Do they have any place? They don't really need that, but they might have. I was gonna say, so at first I was gonna be like, well, that's -5, but maybe it's only a -3 because I could see a way in which they would want to protect certain things or have ways to protect the influence of chaos energy, even though it doesn't nearly affect them as much as other things. But I think they might have something like that, or like I said, they're trying to stop the spread of it, so they might have some sort of containment that could be sort of easily reverse engineered to be like, instead of making this a thing that contains chaos, it's the thing that keeps chaos out instead of in. So -3. Do they have something like that? They do not. Not only that, that's actually a 1. So we're gonna go ahead and give us the worst part of that. So we rolled a 1, so we've got some sort of additional hindrance, which is 8. That's right, 8. Gain or lose a resource. So we're gonna lose some sort of resource. And maybe it's the face mask coverings. They're like, actually, if you've come this close to the center of it, whatever these things are that you're wearing on your faces, if they had some sort of practical application, they are likely fully used now. They're probably suffused with that energy and are not keeping anything out. Ooh, so that's bad. That's real bad. Okay, so let's add some notes. So we grabbed the bodies and we rushed into the hamlet. Met with, roughly 20 people. Met with 20 villagers. Persuasion. Looks to be cooperative. With the chaos miasma. So they seem to be very cooperative with that. They did find out that being this close to the epicenter, or let's say being at the epicenter, has we'll say ruined their face coverings. Has well, not ruined, because I think they could repair them and refit them, but they're gonna have to take them off and spend the time to do that. Has let's say oversaturated their face covering. Pretty much their face coverings don't work when you get this close to it. Oh, that's real bad. We don't want that, and no safe place for, let's say, the party to rest here. Without miasma influence. Okay, so that's sort of the situation we're at. It's not great. Like, there's no place for you to stay here. Also, once you get this close, your face coverings don't work anymore. You go, oh, alright. Well, that's an issue. So they become oversaturated once we get in here. We're also real close to the end of the day for us. Right, we are, let's go to our exploration tracker. Yeah, we're at 15 and 20. So we have enough to probably get out of here. But now we know we can get back in. People will recognize them. We're not going to have to fight the guards again. So, barring anything, we can come back. We're also pretty far down on our resources for the day. So we might go back, have a long rest. We still have a little bit of time, I feel like, in this scene before we need to start worrying about another scene. So I think we just straight up asked them. Leah just straight up asked them, like, give me the skinny, give me the details, what the hell is going on here, and how can we help? Alright. So, what's going on? So what's going on, and how can we help? Alright, so, what is the... what is at the center here? So we know that there's a village. We knew that. I can... Man, it was a minute ago, so what did we actually roll in that? So it was a village and... A village and what? Oh, it was a new faction. That's right. What is this faction about? That's true. So we do know this new faction. Is the new faction... Well, that's the Oracle. Is the new faction anything other than just a group of people? Is it just the settlement? Maybe. No. So it's some sort of genasi thing, I would take it. Alright, so it's some sort of organization of genasi. I'm gonna roll on the prompts table again to see, like, what is their raison d'etre? Like, why? What is their mission? What are they doing? Who are these people and what are they doing? 30 and 43 again. So 30 is capture. 43 is nature. Interesting. So they're trying to capture nature. What does that mean? So they're a new faction, and I just gotta want to go back here. Current section. So they are a new faction. Mission is to capture nature. Now, I hesitate to make them just be like a goody two shoes order who's like, well, we just keep the elemental chaos from getting into the material plane. And it's hard to feel like that's an organization from a people who have been very much ostracized in the material plane for just existing. For them to feel like they're beholden to keep safe the people who very much despise them. They're very specious against them. So they must be capturing the nature for some other purpose. So let's just ask a follow-up question. Are they capturing nature? Do we mean chaos creatures? No, very much no. We're talking about specifically... Well, okay, so it's not extraplanar creatures. Are they natural beasties? Yes. Okay, so they're trying to capture natural beasties. They are kind of in the middle of nowhere. That does kind of make sense. So they're here to capture... Alright, so that tells us what they're doing, but it doesn't really tell us the why. So let's roll again. We roll again on the prompts to figure out why they're doing it. What's the reason? Or do we want to do... I could do something else. I think I got something down here I could use for that. I forgot I could use these. Yeah, let's try this action and object. Let's try a couple of these. See if that throws up anything for us. 7 and 3. Destroy or slay creatures. Oh, maybe it's something else. You know, we've been treating like this rift or whatever it is as chaos, imposing its will on the prime material plane, but we haven't really considered the prime material cross-pollinating and being like, oh well, actually, there are a lot of prime material creatures that have found their way into elements of chaos, primarily probably Feywildish areas. It's probably the closest, if there's any sort of thinning of the veil between planes, the Feywild, and they don't have any natural predators there, and they're running amok. We added wild boar to North America, and they're just running wild, and they're crazy because they don't have any natural predation fighting them. So maybe that's what it is, or it could be plants. Could be plants too. That would be it if they were trying to destroy or slay it. But their actual goal is to... Right, their actual goal is to capture, right? That's what we had. So they're capturing prime material nature to slay... something. Are they doing... How do you kill a giant snake? You get a bigger snake? Is that what they're doing? Is that what they're doing? Question mark. No, that's not what they're doing. Sometimes we get stuck in these areas and we're just like, what do they do? What does this mean? Alright, so they're capturing prime material creatures. Maybe we'll just shuffle that off. Are they solely interested in creating new chaos creatures? No, they're not about that. Maybe they're looking for flora instead. Is it flora? Nope, not flora, so it's definitely fauna. Oh, is this just hunting? Are they just hunting? Whether they're hunting for sport or to create like a menagerie, are they making a prime material zoo? Ooh, that's interesting. They'd be making a prime material zoo. That kind of changes this a lot. I think that's kind of likely, actually. No. Alright, well, alright, dice. You have to roll something above a 5, or else we're not going to get through this. You got to give me an 11 plus at some point. Alright, so it's not that. I do kind of like that, though. Alright, so if it wasn't the menagerie, it could just be just basic hunting. Alright, it's just basic hunting, I guess. Ooh, yeah, they're making... I like that. They're making like a hunting preserve. That's what they're doing. They're making an artificial hunting preserve. I like that. So they're creating a... hunting preserve for like extra planar hunters. We'll say wildlife preserve. That explains like why they have all the chaos energy, because they're flipping back and forth. There's probably some sort of portal that's pulling them in and out from a different plane. And that would explain why there's all the stuff that's going on, but also why they're not trying to mess with a whole bunch of people while they're here. They're just kind of just like out in the middle of nowhere trying to do this. Ooh. Yikes. We did tell them that there's dragon. We did say that. So I don't know if we know that. Have they tipped their hand? I'm gonna give us another insight check. We have advantage. We have a bunch of people here. Gosh dang! All right, dice roller. Google, you're screwing me. You're screwing me, Google. All right. So we do not sense that, but there is a chance that these brand new people have showed up to hunt Rimefire. Wow, I can't believe that. It kind of feels like a one-note adventure when it comes to Rimefire. Either somebody's hunting him, or capturing him, or trying to eat him, or... Well, what a pain in the butt. So we go that, and we've already tipped our hand, so we're gonna... I think at this point we're like, alright, great. They tell us a little bit about, hey, what's going on? How can we help? So they're trying to contain the elemental chaos to only the preserve. So I'm thinking that there's like these. There's like a totems. Feels right. Totems created like a totem perimeter set up to basically control the miasma influence on the area. So they're taking part of that thing. All right, so they have the totem perimeter. So they're trying to set up this totem perimeter. Yeah, no, just totem perimeter setup. So that's what they want. That's the thing we can help with. But they've also tipped our hand. Now, I'm gonna give Leah a deception check. Because I think that Leah's gonna be in a position where once they kind of tell Leah what it is they're doing, Leah's like, I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm gonna try to play cool. So she's gonna try to play cool. Again, there's a lot of stuff going on. And, well, I'm not gonna give her advantage. It's just straight deception roll. Roll high, girl. You're killing me, dice. Let's just burn a few out. Oh yeah, there's where all the nice rolls were. Alright. Trying to burn some rolls out so we can get some double digits around. So unfortunately we don't do a very good job. What's the DC? I assume it's going to be too high. It certainly is already. Alright, so they catch on. So the Genasi catch on that Leah's not thrilled with what they're doing. And probably that she's worried about Rimefire getting caught up in it. Alright, so yeah, I think she tries to make an X. So they're like, look, we've got these totems, we just have to triangulate the place and do that. It seems like you guys have a really good understanding of the area, so if we could mark it. So they'll probably task us to like mark out the area for them to put the totems up, because they can do that without having to worry about the chaos influence. And I think Leah's like, oh, that sounds great. Yeah, we'll probably help with that. We're just gonna go. We can't rest here. You said so yourself. We're actually gonna head out. But we'll probably be back real soon. Probably tomorrow, right? We're probably coming back, and we'll definitely probably be helping you with this and not telling other people and thinking this is a really bad idea and maybe we should stop you. So yeah, we're just gonna go do that and don't even worry about it. We'll be back. And so I think they kind of decide that they're gonna make their exit. She's gonna share what she learned with the other two who are kind of watching over the bodies and that stuff. But I think that Jurgen and Omer were both kind of there to witness most of that conversation. They saw this conversation go down and probably have their own thoughts about it. And we're going to exit and we're going to head back to Rimefire's. Now we're exiting, so we don't really need to make another chaos save, which is good. We do have this bit. So we travel overland to get back to Rimefire's place. And yeah, only one, so we're still doing alright. We're up to 16. So we could do something once we get there, too. Exhaustion threshold is still 20. But we do need to roll to see if there's any sort of random encounter on our way back. Nope. Okay. So we make it back to Rimefire's lair. It's later in the, getting close, later in the afternoon, sun's starting to go down. Not quite sunset, but getting close there. Yeah, I think Leah comes back and we've got some pretty decent PPs here. 12, 13, 13, 14, 13. I'm just gonna roll a DC. That's very high, actually. That's a 17. So if somebody's following them back, they don't notice them. I'm not saying there are. Not saying that the Genasi sent people after them to track them to see where they were going and see if they would lead them straight to their dragon. But I'm saying if somebody was doing that, they would not have caught them. Great job, players, keeping that head on a swivel. Yeah, they rolled well. What are you gonna do? All right, so they make it back. Back to Rimefire's lair. I don't think they hold anything back. I don't think Leah and Omer specifically wouldn't hold anything back. Pretty much just explains the situation. One final question I do want to have before we get fully away from the little hamlet is, question mark, is it only Genasi that are here? No. Actually, there's very few Genasi there. So there are other creatures. So we're kind of going that chaos energy, so I'm going to assume that they're more Fae-like creatures. Let's get some good Fae creatures. Let's look at some Fae creatures real quick to kind of maybe determine who's out here. Nope, that's pretty much, for me, probably, yeah. Ladrin. Chorids, redcaps. Pixies, boggles, blink dogs, quicklings, dryads, elder, darklings, you know. Alright, let's do it this way. So, what percentage? Got 11. Alright, well, it can't be 19. Yes. I should be rolling this. Let's do it. That'll make it easier. 11, 4. Alright, so I'm going to say mostly Eladrin. There's some Genasi. And then... yeah, alright. We'll say those are like chords or something. So it's actually mostly Ladrin. And no safe place for the party. Mission. Those villagers are Ladrin. Let's see. So yeah, these are full-on sort of Fae-ish creatures, chaos creatures, who are here. If we think about Eladrin in this context, are elves who have successfully mutated enough with exposure to chaos energy that they are distinctly genetically different than elves. They're still very close to each other. Eladrin and especially high elves are very, very similar, but they are not, in fact, the same. So, we see that. I don't think that Leah probably tells him that she is worried about his safety. I will let Omer attempt that. I'm going to give him advantage because he's got all his friends with him, but he's not great at charisma to try to tell him that he's worried about it. But, luckily we don't have to take the 2. Or, more importantly, we're going to take the 2, and then we're going to add a 0 after it and use that natural 20. So, there's a bit of... there's a bit of stillness in the scene as Omer kind of comes up to Rimefire and is like, look, I'm pretty sure that we told them that right before we got into a fight with them, with the guards, that there are people around, that there's dragon around. Now, if they have exotic hunters out here, there may be a target on your back. And we want to be clear with you about that. And I don't want to say that you can't take care of yourself. What I can say is that there are way more people in that hunting preserve than you have servants. And they could get in here. They could take you away, kill you. And as your friend, I don't want that. And I'm worried about you. And I'm worried for your safety. Not because I don't think you can't handle yourself, but because I think these people have such ill intent towards you. I mean, we rolled a natural 20. I'll roll the DC, but I think it's likely that we passed it. We sure did. That's 14 DC. So we got it. Perfect. Do that. Rimefire kind of leans back. Your words are wise. And the timbre of your voice is true. Your concern is noted. It is appreciated. However, this is my home now. And no mere mortal is going to take it from me. I will fight them. And with your help, I think we can win. Now, I'll be honest, and I think he kind of leans forward on all fours and like put one claw over the other and kind of rests his chin on it. I'll be honest. If we don't remove that hunting preserve, every day from here on out will be a fight. Hunters after hunter will come and try to take me. Stuff me and make me a crown jewel in their collection for their trophy room. You have passed your contract. You have found out what is at the center of this. I will pay you your dues. You completed your contract, and I will give you the gold. Your payment is due. It is well earned. But I ask another thing of you. Not by contract, but by friendship. By the bond we share. Will you help me send these people back to where they came from? Or leave them dead on the ground? To close whatever this suffusion of miasma is, whatever this portal rift, help me seal it back. And ensure that my domain as it grows will be safe. And you will be honored bannermen in its halls. Omer's full sell. And, yeah, he's full throttle. He's in. For sure. You gotta pay up now for me for help to be. Yeah, the thing is that Rimefire didn't really have a fortune. Unfortunately, he's still very much a wormling, so he doesn't have a ton of treasure to kind of give them. He does have a little bit, though. He's going to pay them now, and probably will give them some sort of banners. But more importantly, he's claiming his domain, and he's giving them, essentially, nobility within his domain, which is cool. In practical applications at this point, not great, but if he continues to grow and in power, could mean a lot. And he's a wormling, so he's going to be growing fast. Very much Omer's all the way in. So really you only have to convince... Leah's probably the primary person that you have to convince. How does Leah feel about that? I think Leah... Yeah, I think Leah's fine with that. I think she and other people also want to get kind of paid. And they've already done a lot for Rimefire. Like, and I think she does feel very much like she's kind of tired of babysitting this guy. And Omer's really been the driving force to do this. So... maybe. Yeah, I'm trying to think of... Yeah, I think Leah agrees, but I think Leah says, hey, this is going to be... Like, we have our own stuff that's going on, and we've dealt with a lot of your issues. We've got to deal with some of our own. So this is going to be the last time. This is the last time. Yeah, she's going to make a... It doesn't really matter. She's not trained in any charisma skill, but I do think... But she is going to have backup, especially from Imbar and Ott. Being like, yeah, you know, we've done a lot of stuff for you and really haven't gotten a lot of rewards out of that except more trouble. So, yeah, I think, like, this is the last time. Like, after this one, you gotta fly on your own. We're kicking you out of the nest. Because I was trying to think, is it a persuasion? Is it intimidate? It's a 14. 14's not great, DC. She failed. That was a 16 DC. Trying to figure out what that fail's gonna be like. I think it's probably Veer that steps up and like pulls a blade and like points it at Leah. That's the last time you'll speak such language to my master, or else I will gut you for him. I think Leah's like, one last time. That's all I'm saying. Get your own servant story about now. Looking at Veer. He just kind of growls. He still has his sword pointed at her. But you could be helpful in this moment, the both of you, by helping us create basically a second pair of face coverings. Because we know that once we get close enough, they told us, once we get to the center of that, the epicenter of that, these face coverings no longer work. So we need some backup face coverings that we can hold in reserve. So once we get done there, we can have them on our way out at least. Okay, so we need some like recharges for him. Yeah, I think that's what they will spend the rest of their time with. Let's roll to just make sure nothing jumps in and tries to grab us while we do that. Nothing does. And we are going to do that, so you come back. Swing out the Rimefire. One last ride with the dragon. Take out the Hunter Enclave. And destroy, we'll say seal, the rift/portal. Alright, so we got the one last ride with Dragon. Make some backup face coverings. I'll say backup emergency face coverings. And then we're gonna take a long rest. And oh, we also got one last ride, and we get the payout for our contract. So our contract's over. So we did 3 to 6 days. He gave us 6 days to do it. And how much was he paying us? It is probably And plots and rumors. Oasis. Chaos corruption, search for the origin, stop the corruption. That was our mission to begin with. In general, I can't remember. I think he was just paying us day rate. Which, if I remember correctly, I think it's 4. So it's 20 gold per day. We worked 3 of 6 days. I assume he's going to give us the whole 6 days worth. So that's 120 gold. Ain't bad for 3 days of work. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. And pay for the contract. 123. And loot. I'm going to say none. We return to the villagers. We gave that stuff back. We didn't keep that stuff. Alright, so we're going to take a long rest. So there is a chance something's going to jump out and bite us. Let's do 3 watches. Just to see if something happens during those 3 times. Nothing does. The night passes. It's a new day. Alright, take a long rest. New day. Summer Maiden 24. Which is approximately May 29th. To kind of give you an idea of sort of like what the weather's like. Northern hemisphere style. So it's coming into spring. Or coming out of spring into summer. So it's warming up. And they're in the jungle. It's hot. Especially for Imbar, who's in heavy armor. But we get our long rest, and I think that's a good place to end it. So next time we're going to charge back in. We're going to have the support, supposedly, of Veer and Rimefire coming with us. Which I should put in here. Rimefire are joining to... Yeah, so they're going to join in attacking the Enclave. And we're going to close the portal, get that stuff done, or rift, or whatever the hell it is. And figure that out, and then we're going to move on. But yeah, that's a good place to stop. So that's where we're going to start off next time. Waking up in the morning, getting geared up, going in. We know it's going to be one, if not more, multiple fights going in. Got to figure out where this rift or portal is and close that off, get that done. Hopefully, we've gotten enough information out of them, potentially, that we can figure out how to make the totems work. And if we can keep the totems... if we can figure out how to set up the totems in a way around wherever the rift was, that we can maybe isolate the rift and ensure that it doesn't reopen at some point. If it is like a tear in the meniscus between the material plane and something like the Feywild, then we can make sure that it's closed and it can stay closed. We can suture it closed, basically. And so that way it doesn't open back up once we leave. So that way Rimefire will be kind of perma-safe, at least for now. Lest they open the portal somewhere else and send somebody all the way across the world over here to deal with it, to open it back up. Which is probably unlikely if they were only using this portal or rift only for hunting, big game hunting, basically. So, probably unlikely they're going to have the means to do that. But that's it. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks for hanging out. This adventure just got way more interesting. More stuff going on. So we're going to have to figure that out next time. I'm excited. It's probably going to be a bunch of combat next time, which will be kind of slow and plodding, but will be fun in its own way, because I do enjoy that. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright? Bye.